Nightmare of the Walking Dead. Annette and Lonnie's final reckoning. Lonnie had been living in fear ever since the zombie outbreak began. He had tried to keep his distance from the undead, who now roamed the streets in search of human victims. But no matter how hard he tried, he always seemed to find himself in situations that put him at risk of being attacked. Annette had been a friend of his since childhood, and she had been the one to convince him to join her in her attempt to find a safe haven from the zombies. She promised him that together, they could make it out alive. So, with a heavy heart, Lonnie followed her, and the two began their quest for safety. At first, the two were successful in avoiding the mindless hordes of zombies that haunted the streets. As they ventured farther away from the city center, they found themselves in a small rural town that seemed to have been spared the worst of the epidemic. However, their luck wouldn't last. Suddenly, they heard a loud rumbling noise coming from down the hill. Lonnie and Annette looked up to see a large group of zombies heading their way. In a panic, they ran into the nearest building and barricaded the door. Once inside, they searched desperately for a way out as the zombies pounded on the door, trying to break in. But no matter how hard they tried, it seemed that there was no way for them to escape. Suddenly, in a desperate attempt to gain some time, Annette grabbed a kitchen knife from the counter and slashed her wrist. As the blood spilled from her wrist, the zombies grew silent, their mindless hunger quickly taking over. As Annette lay dying, Lonnie did the only thing he could do. He grabbed her limp body and ran. Lonnie ran for what seemed like hours, until finally, he stumbled upon a small cottage in the woods. Inside, he found an elderly couple. He begged them to let him stay, as he was too exhausted to keep going. The old man agreed, and Lonnie collapsed onto the floor, cradling Annette's lifeless body in his arms. That night, Lonnie had a terribly vivid dream. In the dream, he saw Annette standing in the middle of a circle of zombies, who were slowly advancing toward her. Just before they were close enough to reach her, the zombies suddenly stopped and began to back away, their vacant eyes now focused on Lonnie. Lonnie awoke with a start, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew what had happened. In his dream, Annette had sacrificed herself in order to save Lonnie, and the zombies had honored her sacrifice by allowing him to live. Lonnie was overwhelmed with grief, but he was also filled with admiration for Annette and her amazing show of courage. He knew that he would never forget her and the tremendous sacrifice that she had made for him. The next day, the old man and his wife took Lonnie in and helped him start a new life away from the zombies. Every day, Lonnie looked over his shoulder, expecting to see the undead coming for him. But they never did. Lonnie was haunted by the memory of Annette's courage and ultimate sacrifice, but over time he grew to accept it as a part of him. He lived his life in honor of her, and even though he never forgot her, he learned to live with the grief she had left behind. Until one day, many years later, Lonnie noticed a strange man following him. He was sure the man was a zombie, and his worst fears were confirmed when the zombie lunged at him, its eyes filled with hunger. Lonnie threw his arms around the zombie and screamed as he felt its teeth piercing his skin. As the life drained from his body, he felt a strange warmth and peace flooding through him, as if Annette was still with him. In that last moment, Lonnie finally understood why Annette had given her life for him, so that he could live in peace, free from the horror of the undead. And with his last breath, Lonnie was filled with a sense of eternal gratitude to Annette and her incredible selflessness. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and tell us what you think in the comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.